guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the second half of my July wrap-up. These are the books I read in the second half of the month, and I have read 8 so far, which is low because I read like 11 the first half of the month. 19 total for the month, but I am filming this a day early and I travel tomorrow, and I'm gonna work out tomorrow, so I will for sure finish one more book, possibly 2. That means that I will have read 10 books for the month, for the second half of the month, which is like generally around how much I read, but I have to film this early because I leave tomorrow for Steamy Lit. We're going to Disney on Thursday, which is my birthday. I'm gonna be spending my birthday with my twin sister in Disneyland. It's gonna be the best time with my best friends, so I'm so excited, but I'm filming this early. So I will go ahead and get to the books. I've already filmed my first half wrap up. I will link that down below if you want to check it out. But the first book that I read and finished in this half of the month is If You Give a Billionaire Bride by Anne Einerson. The author actually sent me a finished copy of this book and it is so pretty. I love her design so much, and it's got these cute little stuff all on the inside, and I really enjoyed this one. I gave it more a 4. I want to say like 4.25, not a 4.5, but I feel like 4 is kind of a little low because I really enjoyed this. So they had huge crushes on each other in high school, and I love a trope where we're like almost a thing and then didn't get to be a thing, and now they're adults, and they made a little like bet with one another, or like a deal that if they're 30 and not married, they'll marry each other. And her brother's his best friend, so like they were around each other all the time, but then they just did not see each other until a long time later. I don't remember if it says how many years, and I think that they're actually past 30 at this point, but they're around the same age. So usually I feel like we have a lot of age gaps with billionaires, but they are around the same age, and she is actually like a really successful businesswoman. She works in London for her father's company with her step brothers, I believe. I don't remember how everyone's related, but they're like either half brothers or step brothers, and they run her father's division in London. He's from a really successful family, and so he doesn't really take a lot too seriously. He just has a lot of great investments, and he does work with his brothers though. So they're both in the business of business, and they run into each other on business in Vegas, and one thing leads to another, and they get married. And when they wake up, they did not actually sleep together, but they woke up and they're like, what did we do? And then they tell their siblings, and their siblings are like, we have a merger or like a buyout coming up. I don't know a lot about business, okay? And so they're like, you can't annul this marriage because like they're gonna think that you were like trading secrets or like ruining the deal. So you have to stay married for at least as long as like it takes to get this deal done. So they have to live together in London, and it is so cute. I really liked it. I really liked how protective the hero was, because her dad really is not a good person, and they dance around the fact that they really like each other, and he actually like prevents his interior designer because he doesn't really have a lot in his apartment in London, and he lives like downtown and she lives a little further outside of the city, so they're like, you need to like live with me because it's like more convenient, and he hasn't really like renovated or decorated, so he only has 1 bedroom set, and he's like, well, guess we gotta share a room, and he kind of like puts off bringing someone in to decorate because he wants to keep on sharing a room with her. And so like there's so much tension between them. I have found though that like I will stipulate, I'm someone who does not love epilogues. I don't care, and I get very bored when people are happy and in love. Like I need tension, I need a little bit of angst, I need more conflict, and then once they get together, like I don't need their story anymore. I don't read bonus scenes, I don't read epilogues. I don't like them. So by the end of this book, I was like, okay, I'm good and I'm done with the story, and I felt like that a lot with what I read this month. So that's more telling you about me, but that's why it's more like a 4, but I feel like 4 is too harsh because I really liked it, but by the end, I was like, okay, I'm good, I'm done with the story. So kind of 4.25, kind of 4, but really good. That was a lot of time on that book. I'm so sorry. Okay, so then I read, and I think I gave this one 4 stars as well, Identity by Nora Roberts. We read this for my book club for Patreon. We read a Nora book a month. This is actually her new release from last year, and it was so good. Definitely listen to Nora on audio. She has very slow-paced slice of life in between the suspense and the action in her books, so audio is the way to go. It makes it go a lot faster for me, and I really like her audiobooks. So this one, our heroine meets a guy and they start kind of dating, and it just so happens the guy is a serial killer who cleans people out. Like he puts them in massive amounts of debt, he takes their identity, everything. She is his typical type. and he goes to her house to steal her stuff. Her roommate is homesick, so he ends up murdering her roommate and stealing all of her information still. So he puts her in all this debt, ruins her life, and murders her best friend. And she feels so guilty for it happening because she knows like she was the intended victim. So she moves home to live with her mom and her grandmother, gets a job at a local kind of like lodge hotel place as like a manager, and falls for the guy whose family owns that hotel. And he doesn't like her at first. He's like, doesn't think she's qualified to be working there, and slowly learns more about her, and it's their romance. And then this guy is fixating on her though, the serial killer, because she's the only one that's gotten away. So we have that. So good, so unique, and I really like the romance. I feel like the hero was not typical 90s overbearing my way or the highway kind of hero, which I appreciated. And I mean, this is written now, but like I've read a lot of Nora books and they're very much like, I like you, sleep with me, and like that's how the romance starts. That didn't happen here. She got to know him a little bit and then she's like, oh my gosh, like I like you, I want to sleep with you. So like I liked that aspect, and the suspense was great, the mystery was great. 4 stars for this one. Then I read an arc of Asking for Trouble by Gianna Darling. Absolutely 5 stars. This is talked about as a novella, like she says it's a novella, but it's over 300 pages. It's just short for her, and it is Boner and Blues book, and it was amazing. I love a hero obsessed and a heroine who has like a good reason for pushing the hero away. Their romance is forbidden, and she knows it's forbidden, and she doesn't want to be with him for his own safety. So she really cares about him, and she cares about him so much that she doesn't want to ruin his life. He is obsessed. Like he makes neon signs and just like leaves them everywhere for her, and it is the most amazing thing ever. And they're trying to protect her, and the way the Fallen just completely embrace her even though she is involved in not great things. And I love how protective they are. The found family in this series is everything, and it was so good in this book too, and it reads so fast. First 25% I feel like kind of feels novella-ish by how fast it moves, because it does like involve them getting together very quickly, but then we have all this history of who she is and why their romance is forbidden, and then him trying to protect her and save her. So it is so good. We have lots of action at the end too, which I loved. 5 stars. Obsessed with the series. I could not get enough. Then I did end up reading for a video, which obviously got put on hold because of all the arcs I had to read, but this will be coming out next month, and that is Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I don't want to say too much because I will be talking in that vlog, but I gave this one 4 stars. Really sweet romance. It is fade to black. I would have loved an on-page sex scene with how much their tension was built up in here, and then all of a sudden it was like, all right, 4 hours later and we were done, and I was like, but what happened? So this one, she is I think she's like 38, getting a divorce, and she has 3 kids. She has 3 kids, and she meets a guy at a dog park, and she's like so giddy and smitten by him, and then realizes he's someone she knows, and they start dating, and he hates their hometown. He's only home for the summer, and he has like this whole life 4 hours away, and so obviously they can only have a summer romance. She has to stay for her kids. He has such an important life back home. He feels like he has an identity, a purpose, and he just hates how he's treated at their small hometown. So the romance goes from there. I wanted a little bit more depth to a couple of things in the story, especially because it made it out that her ex-husband was kind of like doing something kind of sleazy on the side, but never actually said what he was doing. They kind of insinuated he could have been trying to do something based on how he was acting towards her in their like mediator meetings, but nothing ever happened. And I was like, oh, that could have been, maybe it's just like the romantic suspense person in me. I was like, something should have happened. But overall, really sweet summer romance, and I enjoyed it. So 4 stars. And I actually did not listen to a lot of audiobooks. I feel like I usually listen to more than I did this month, but I did listen to the audiobook of Hold Me Until Morning, and I gave this one 4 stars. I feel like most of my reading, well, it goes downhill from here. This is the last good book I read, so it was like a really great start, 4 stars, and then no, was not it. So this one was the last good book I read. I gave this one 4 stars as well. I really love this series, and this one does have some suspense in it because of her ex, and she is a single mom. Her mother's really funny, and she moves in. They knew each other from the past. She's off limits. He didn't even recognize who she was at first, and then he realizes who she is, and she is a single mom. She gets the job as like a ranch manager, and he is like the landscaper at the ranch as well, being hired for a job, so they are around each other all the time. And then she does get threats from her ex, and he wants to protect her. So it's a very sweet small town romance, forced proximity, a little bit forbidden because they know they shouldn't be together, and people are going to be upset if they found out they are together. So 4 stars for this one. I feel like this whole series was like a really solid 4-star. The first book is still my favorite. I loved that book, but I'm excited for what she has coming next. This was the last book in the series, and she has an ex-motorcycle club romance coming out, so very excited for that. Oh, okay. I never added this to my graphic. I have to go back and add that. What the heck? I read Business Casual, and I don't even remember what order when I would have read this in here. This, amazing, 5 stars, one of my favorite books of the year, obsessed. I don't know why I didn't put this in I didn't read it in June, did I? No. Yeah, okay. I did not add this to my graphic of books that I've read, but this one, literally obsessed. This one, amazing. Nova is definitely a black cat kind of character. She is a tattoo artist. She's very closed off. She likes being alone, and everyone's like, you need to go find someone. She's Beckett's sister, and we see so much of Beckett in here. Beckett's from book 2. He's my absolute favorite hero. Book 2 is one of my favorite books of the year when I read it, and this one's not one of my favorite books. So Charlie is a flirt. He flirts with everybody, and he flirts with Nova all the time, and they're at a wedding. He's the half brother of Who's Getting Married, which is one of the previous heroines in the series, and so he is really rich. He works in, I think, New York. He works in the city in like finance or something, and he loves being back in the small town they live in. Is it Lovelight? Because it's Lovelight Farms is the first one. Whatever their small town is, he loves being back there, and he always comes back and visits. And so he is flirting with her, and she's like, you know what? I need a release. Will you have sex with me? And he's like, is this a joke? And so she's like so embarrassed, and she's like, never mind. He's like, no, wait, like, yes. And so they have such a cute dynamic. I love them. I was obsessed with them, and he is just such a golden retriever too, and I loved their dynamic and their relationship so much, and how hard and fast they fell for each other. And it was so cute because like when they were deciding to like hook up, she's like, do we need rules? Like, should you not kiss me? And he's like, this isn't Pretty Woman. Like, we can kiss. And it was so funny. And so I just love them. And Charlie is such a heartwarming character because he just wants to be loved, and he wants to be wanted by people. Amazing, magical, 5 stars. Please read this if you haven't yet. I can't believe I didn't put on my graphic. I forgot. So best book of the month by far. Then the next 3 books were not my favorite. So I read Where Dreams Begin by Lisa Kleypas, and I don't know if it's because I read this in 2 days. I was listening to the audiobook. I was bored out of my mind, and I'm giving it 2.5 stars. Everybody in our live show, we read this for Historical Hellions, they were obsessed. And so I feel like I'm the only one who was missing something, because this one, our hero, he's a self-made man, and he has his sister who he wants to do well in society, and he kisses our heroine, who is a widow. She lost her husband 3 years ago. She's a single mom. She's still in mourning. She's not moving on. She loved her husband. They had a great relationship. Not like passionate, but they were like friends, and they were really close. And so she wants to honor her husband, and he kisses her thinking she was someone else at the party, and she's like, oh my gosh, that was like the most amazing kiss ever, but like, how dare you? And then he calls on her to live with him to help his sister be in society. So he offers her literally like an offer she can't refuse for her daughter to have like the best dowry, and like her having a ton of money because he's like filthy rich. So she comes to live with him, and they fall in love, and that's really all that happens. There's not a lot that's happening in here, and the heroine, just her identity is caring for her daughter and being hung up on her dead husband. And I would have loved something more to happen, and just something more interesting, and it just kept on going on. And then like they decided to be together, and then like 100 more pages was drama, and I was like, we're done with the romance. Like, why am I still reading this? Because then, like I said, I don't like epilogues, and so this was just like, I was bored at the end because there was something that happened, and then we just kept on having epilogues, and it was fine. I I just didn't like reading it. I was like, ugh, forcing myself to get through it. 2.5 stars. I feel bad because I love Lisa, but this one I did not love. Then I read Where We Ended by Ashley Munoz, and I am so conflicted with this book because I wanted to love this. It is the last book in the Motorcycle Club romance series of the Stone Riders, and it is Silas's book, who is a president of a different motorcycle club, and Natty, who has so much past with him. The beginning was fantastic. She is kidnapped by his brother, who is like someone that is in love with her and has been in love with her since they were young, but she's always been in love with Silas, and it's like by a rival club, and so like things are getting dangerous. But there was too much flashback between the past and the present because it was so hard to tell where we were, because the past was only a few years ago. So like they were already like established adults in a relationship in the flashbacks, and it was flashing back to like what broke them apart, but it was so hard to tell where we were because like there wasn't a lot of difference in the storylines because they were also apart in the present. And so like I also feel like that stopped any progress of any current plot. So like when she gets out of being kidnapped, it felt so stagnant. I was like, nothing is happening. She's just like dealing with her emotions, and then they're dealing with emotions in the past, and then back to her dealing with emotions, and I just wanted more to happen to the plot, especially for a romantic suspense. And so we did get stuff happen at the end, but because this is the end of the series, so much of the end was just like epilogues, and like I said, this is just a personal thing, but I don't like epilogues. Like, I don't need you to wrap up a series in a nice little bow. I just want an ending to the couple and like move on. And so I've just checked out by the end, and I just didn't love the plot as much as I wanted to. I did love their romance, I love their dynamic, but as a story I just didn't love it, and I feel so bad because I love this series so much, and I'm sad that we're going off on my least favorite book of the series, and I'm giving this one 3 stars. So I wanted to love it more, especially with these characters and like the angst between them, but like the way the plot was structured and how it prevented the plot from even moving forward, and then all the epilogues at the end, I just didn't love this one. And then the next one I didn't love was for my Ravished by Romance book club, which is Collide by Balcabra. I gave this one, I don't know, because I DNF'd it. So I don't know if I want to say 2 stars. This very much reminded me of Icebreaker, which I also DNF'd. It's very long. I got 6.5 hours in the audiobook, and I was only halfway done, and I did not like the characters at all. The hero, the first scene we get of him is hooking up with another girl, and I can get a Playboy hero without seeing him physically on page hooking up with other people. So immediately I was like, he just gives me the ick. And then he is so self-centered. He like he helps coach these kids' games, and he's supposed to like go to their game and just doesn't go. I was like, these are little kids, like a 10-year-old. You are so selfish that you're letting down these little kids who look up to you, and he like did not care. And then he also like didn't show up to something for her because he's too busy partying, and then he lost his phone because some girl stole it, so he had to go track it down at this girl's campus because she had his phone. And I was like, you are not likable at all. And the heroine was doing this like project. So she has hang-ups about hockey because of her dad, which I didn't know what the hang-up was halfway through the book still. And she just like hated hockey players. And so she though is assigned to work on this project, which didn't really make too much sense with him. And he had to because he got in trouble for partying. And so it was just like also then turned into like your run-of-the-mill college sports romance, and I don't love new adult lately. Like I still so love Elle Kennedy's, and it's hard not to compare these two, and I think that Elle Kennedy's are so much better than this, and just like the dynamic of like the hate to love reminded me so much of Icebreaker, and I didn't love that book and I thought it was too long. So this reminded me of that, and I was just like, I don't like anything. And then I talked to friends and they're like, it just really goes downhill from halfway. So if I was already not liking it, I DNF'd it. So yeah, maybe 2 stars. I don't know. Not a fave. But I am reading a sports romance right now that I'm 80% into that I'm loving, and that is Playbook by Rebecca Genchak. He's a man obsessed, and I love that. So he is also a player, but we don't see it like on page, well, a little bit, and I was annoyed by something that happened because he like asked her to go to meet him somewhere, but then he took a body shot off of someone before she got there and she saw it, and I was like, we shouldn't have done this, but it is what it is. That was just like a minor little like nitpicky thing, but they end up fake dating. So she is getting his fan mail. So she is getting tons of mail from women in her mailbox, and she's like, what the heck is going on? It's all addressed to him. She has no idea who he is. And so then she's at a bar, someone's like, hey, that's Brogan 6. She's like, that's the guy who's not forwarding his mail, that's clogging up my mail with this gross, disgusting perfume. And like, she accidentally opened a package she thought was hers, and it was underwear. And so she's just annoyed. So she confronts him, she yells at him, and he's intrigued. He's like, who are you? She's like, I don't even know who you are. And so he's intrigued, and then she decides to fake date him because she meets him again at a bar, and he like also gives her like tickets to his games, and runs into her ex, who is now, his brother is engaged to her sister. So they're gonna see each other all the time, and he has a girlfriend he's rubbing in her face, and she just wants him to like leave her alone. So they decide to fake date, and they have their first fake kiss, and he is like so obsessed, and then she can't stop thinking about it. And then there's just scenes that are so cute. So I'm really loving this. It's probably gonna be a 5-star. I just want to talk about it now because I'm finished this today. Loving this so much. And those are all the books, so I guess 9 plus 10 that I'm going to finish, books that I read in the second half of July. Let me know what you've read so far and what your favorite books of the month were, and if you've gotten this far, leave me a football emoji for Playbook by Rebecca Jenchak. Let me know if you read these too and what your thoughts were. I'd love to hear, and that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.